Before diving into this incredible story, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell. Every story here has something to say, and you won't want to miss a single one. The rain was falling heavily on the motorway that evening, turning the road into a dark and dangerous mirror. Emma Lawson, 28, was driving alone, staring at the headlights twinkling ahead. She had just finished a long day at the office and was longing for some quiet time at home. But fate had other plans. Suddenly, a truck, sliding on the wet asphalt, lost control and violently hit his car. The sound of twisting metal, the screech of brakes, and then, silence. Emma lost consciousness instantly. When her eyes opened again, she recognized nothing, not the cold, white light of the hospital, nor the worried faces around her. She didn't remember her name, her family, or even her own history. Her entire past had disappeared as if swept away by a storm. A few meters away, Alexander Carter, a man in his 30s, a discreet billionaire and philanthropist, had just arrived. He had seen the accident and, without hesitation, had taken charge of Emma, bringing her to safety and ensuring she received the best care. His eyes, dark and intense, rested on her with a gentleness that contrasted with the brutality of the accident. In the hospital room, Alexander sat beside her, carefully holding her hand. "You're safe now," he said softly. But Emma, confused and frightened, didn't understand why this stranger was caring for her with such devotion. Little did she know, this man would become more than a savior. He would soon be her guide, her support, and perhaps, the unexpected love that would rebuild her life. Fate, sometimes cruel and unpredictable, had struck. But in the chaos of oblivion, a new story was beginning to be written. Emma opened her eyes slowly, feeling a strange unease. The light in the room was soft, almost soothing, but she didn't recognize anything around her. The white walls, the silent medical equipment, the immaculate bed, everything seemed foreign. A soft voice made her jump. "Hello, are you feeling a little better?" She turned her head and saw a man sitting in a chair beside the bed. His slightly wavy black hair, his deep, serious yet kind gaze, were staring at her intently. Emma blinked in confusion. Who are you?" she asked, her voice trembling. "My name is Alexander Carter," he replied calmly. "You were in an accident, but you're safe now." Emma frowned, panic rising. Accident? But I don't remember anything." Her voice broke. She brought her hand to her head, as if to catch the vanished fragments of her memory. Alexander moved a little closer, placing his hand gently on hers. "It's normal. You suffered severe amnesia after the accident. The doctors say it will take time. But I'll be there for you." Emma looked at him, searching for a hint of truth in his eyes. There was something comforting, almost reassuring, despite the fear that paralyzed her. Why me?" she whispered. "Because I was there when you needed help," he said simply. "And now I want to make sure you're protected and recover." Despite her confusion, a strange sense of security settled over her. She didn't yet know why, but she felt she could trust him. Alexander smiled at her, a tender but emotional smile, and said, "Rest. We have time. You are not alone." Emma leaned back against the pillow, her eyes gently closing. For the first time since the accident, she felt that, despite the oblivion and emptiness that tormented her, there was a point of light in the darkness, this mysterious man, watching over her with genuine care. And in the silence of that room, a silent but deep bond began to form between them, heralding the beginning of a story that would change their lives forever. Days after the accident, Emma still felt fragile. Her memories were like scattered pieces of glass she couldn't put together. Every face seemed foreign, every object unfamiliar. Even her own identity remained a mystery. Alexander, aware of her vulnerability, had decided to invite her to stay at his residence. A spacious and welcoming house, nestled in a quiet neighborhood, with large windows letting in natural light and a lush garden where rain beaded on the green leaves. "You don't have to do anything," Alexander said, helping her move her things into her new room. "You're here to recover." I just want you to be safe and comfortable. Emma looked at him uncertainly. I don't want to disturb, she whispered. You're not bothering anyone, he replied with a reassuring smile. You're welcome here. The first few days were a mixture of confusion and small steps forward. Emma learned to move around the house, to eat without feeling lost, and to accept Alexander's help without shame. He accompanied her everywhere, but never in an intrusive manner, always respecting her space and her rhythm. One afternoon, as they were walking in the garden, Alexander spoke softly. Emma, I know you don't remember your past. But I want you to know one thing, you are not alone. No matter what you have forgotten, you still have the right to smile, to feel, and to love, if you want to. Emma looked at him, touched by the sincerity of his words. A shiver ran down her spine. She didn't know why, but she felt she could trust him. A part of her, buried deep in her heart, was beginning to awaken. Every day, Alexander showed her a different side of life, the simple joys, the silent moments when the wind caressed the trees, the sunlight filtering through the windows. Emma discovered that even without memories, life could offer moments of happiness. And little by little, a new routine settled in, made of trust, patience, and tenderness. Alexander was always there, present without imposing his presence, and Emma began to feel a gratitude for him, a nascent attachment. In the silence of the house, amidst the shy laughter and exchanged glances, the first spark of an unexpected bond had just been ignited. A spark that promised to grow stronger as their lives intertwined. As the days passed, Emma began to settle into her new life. She was now familiar with the halls of the house, the gardens where Alexander took her for walks, and the calm rhythm of her days. But deep down, a lingering emptiness haunted her, her past remained a mystery, and she still didn't know who she really was. One morning, while idly rummaging through a drawer in her room, Emma came across a small, yellowed notebook. Curious, she opened it and was struck by the smell of old paper and light perfume. Her eyes scanned the words, written in fine, elegant handwriting, and for the first time since the accident, a fragment of memory returned to her. A laugh, soft and familiar. A blurry image, a park, a tree, a voice she couldn't identify. Her heart sank. She tried to hold back the tears, but Alexander, who was passing by, saw them and approached quietly. Is everything okay? He asked, his voice filled with concern. Emma nodded, trembling. I think I remember something, a fragment, but it's not clear. Alexander sat down next to her and took her hand. It doesn't matter if it's just a fragment. The important thing is that you're moving forward. You're here, safe, and you have the right to discover these memories at your own pace. Emma felt a strange warmth fill her. The gentleness of his words, his infinite patience, aroused a new emotion in her, gratitude, and something deeper, almost unexplained. She didn't yet understand what it was, but she loved the feeling of being protected, seen, and understood. In the following days, other fragments emerged. A particular scent in the garden that reminded her of a walk, a melody she unconsciously hummed, a simple gesture that triggered a wave of nostalgia. Alexander noticed each of these moments and gently encouraged them, never rushing her. For Emma, every little memory she rediscovered was a step closer to herself, but also closer to him. Every moment spent with Alexander made her heart beat faster, without her understanding why. She found herself waiting for his smiles, appreciating his attentions, feeling comforted by his presence. And as they walked one afternoon along the garden, beneath a sky tinged orange by the setting sun, Emma felt a spark ignite within her. A spark of something soft, fragile, yet powerful. Something she had never felt before. Without knowing it, she was beginning to fall, a little, slowly, for the man who had saved her, and who was now becoming much more than a simple protector. As the weeks passed, Emma felt more and more comfortable in Alexander's home. She learned to recognize his routines, share his thoughts, and even laugh at his little jokes. Every gesture, every attention, every glance from Alexander seemed to create an invisible bridge between them, slowly building a deep bond. One afternoon, Alexander suggested a walk through the vast grounds surrounding the house. The trees were still wet from the recent rain, and the sun's rays filtering through the foliage created a magical play of light on the ground. "I'll show you something," he said, smiling, his hand outstretched towards her. Emma hesitated for a moment, then placed her hand in his, a light but reassuring touch. They walked in silence, enjoying the tranquility and beauty of the garden. Alexander showed her his favorite plants, his sculptures, and the secret corners where he liked to read or reflect. Emma listened, amazed by the passion and gentleness of this man. She felt her heart beat a little faster every time he spoke to her attentively. Later, sitting on a bench under an old maple tree, Alexander turned to her. "Emma, you're amazing. Even though you've lost your memories, I can see who you really are." Emma blushed slightly, a mixture of surprise and confusion. I don't know who I am, how can you say that?" He smiled softly. "Because the soul is not forgotten. What I see is the kindness, strength, and light coming from you." She looked away, touched by his words. She didn't yet understand what she felt for him, but a familiar warmth, soft and reassuring, spread through her chest. She wanted to stay by his side, listen to his voice, feel his presence. As the days passed, this closeness became their daily life. Alexander encouraged her to explore her emotions, to laugh, to enjoy the little things in life. He was never rushed, never intrusive. He was simply there, constant and patient, and this consistency gave rise to a feeling in Emma she had never known, complete trust. And one evening, as they gazed at the starry sky from the balcony together, Emma felt something blossom within her. A tender and fragile feeling, but irresistible. She didn't yet know what it was, but she knew she cared for Alexander, for more than just gratitude. For the first time since the accident, Emma realized that a powerful new bond was forming. A bond that could transform her entire life. Emma began to feel her heart beat faster with every smile, every gesture, every word from Alexander. It wasn't just gratitude or recognition anymore, it was something deeper, something she'd never felt before. She realized it tentatively, trying to understand these new and confusing emotions. One evening, after a light dinner in the large dining room bathed in the warm light of the chandeliers, Alexander sat down next to her on the living room sofa. The flames in the fireplace danced gently, casting moving shadows on the walls. "Emma," he said softly, placing a hand on hers. "I feel like we've known each other forever, even though you've lost your memories." Emma looked down, a mixture of confusion and emotion washing over her. I don't know what to say. I don't understand these feelings." Alexander smiled tenderly. "You don't need to understand right away. Just feel, and know that I'll be there, no matter what you feel or remember." A comfortable silence fell, interrupted only by the crackling of the fireplace. Emma felt a strange, soothing warmth spread through her chest. She looked up at him, and their eyes met. For a moment, the outside world seemed to disappear. There was only their eyes, their closeness, and the gentle but irresistible tension that hung between them. Over the next few days, this emotion grew slowly but surely. Emma found herself looking forward to Alexander, feeling a simple happiness when he entered the room, feeling protected and understood in a way she had never known. For Alexander, it had become clear, he had fallen in love with Emma. Not just with her looks or her charm, but with her strength despite her vulnerability, her gentleness, her curiosity about the world, and the light she let shine through despite her memory loss. Every gesture, every smile, every look she gave him reinforced this silent but intense love. One evening, as they were walking in the moonlit garden, Alexander stopped, gently took her hands, and said, "Emma, I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but I do know one thing, I care about you. More than I can say." Emma felt her heart clench, her eyes fill with emotion. She wanted to answer him, but words failed her. So she simply smiled shyly, letting her eyes do the talking. And in that silence full of tenderness and promise, a truth began to settle in both their hearts. No matter the forgotten past, no matter the lost memories, something stronger and truer was being born, a love that could heal all wounds. Despite the warmth and security she felt with Alexander, Emma couldn't help but feel a dull fear. Her memories still eluded her at times, and with them, the fear of becoming attached to someone she didn't really know. One morning, as Alexander served her breakfast on the light-filled terrace, Emma looked down and whispered, "Alexander. I don't know if I can. I mean, I don't know who I really am. How can I know if what I feel for you is real or just an illusion?" Alexander gently set down his teacup and took her hands in his, looking at her with infinite patience. "Emma. I understand. And I don't expect you to know everything right now. You're going through something very difficult. What you're feeling is real, even if your memory is playing tricks on you. But you're not alone on this journey." Emma felt a mixture of relief and vulnerability. She wanted to believe his words, but a part of her remained wary. What if I become attached to you and lose all memory of you one day?" Alexander smiled softly, as if to soothe her fears. "Then I'll be there. And if your memories never return, we'll create new ones, together. You have the right to feel, to love, and to be loved, even if your past remains unclear." This sincere promise touched Emma deeply. She felt a weight lift from her shoulders, replaced by a mixture of trust and fear. Every day spent with Alexander became proof that love could exist even without a past, even without certainty. As the week progressed, Alexander continued to patiently support her. He never rushed her, never judged her. He listened, understood her, and encouraged her to express her emotions, even the most confusing ones. And little by little, Emma began to feel that her doubts didn't define her. One night, while they were stargazing from the balcony, Emma rested her head on Alexander's shoulder and whispered, "Thank you for being here, even though I don't know who I am." Alexander hugged her gently, the warmth of her body and the softness of his embrace speaking louder than words. "Always, Emma. I'll always be here." And in this shared silence, a new trust was born. Emma understood that there was a strength in this budding love, capable of overcoming doubts, fears, and lost memories. She didn't yet know what tomorrow would bring, but for the first time since the accident, she felt ready to surrender, a little, gently, to this feeling growing within her. One afternoon, as Emma tentatively explored Alexander's library, her fingers brushed against a small photo album left on a low shelf. Curious, she opened it. The images were blurry to her, but one photograph in particular caught her attention: a park, a towering tree, and in the distance, a figure that seemed vaguely familiar. A shiver ran through her. A wave of unexplained emotion washed over her, a mixture of nostalgia and confusion. I think I remember something," she whispered, her voice trembling. Alexander came up behind her, seeing the open notebook. "What did you find?" he asked softly. Emma pointed at the photo, her hands trembling slightly. I don't know, but it seems important." Alexander gently took her shoulder, respecting her vulnerability. "Maybe it's a memory from your past. You don't need to figure it all out right now. Let it come at its own pace." But this small fragment awakened a deep emotion in Emma, a mixture of fear and excitement. Part of her wanted to understand, to regain what she had lost. But another part feared what the memory might reveal, dreading the confrontation with her former self. Over the next few days, other small memories surfaced: a familiar scent, the distant sound of a melody, gestures she unconsciously replicated. Each moment caused a lump in her throat, a mixture of confusion and recognition. Alexander, still at her side, gently encouraged her. "You are not alone on this journey, Emma. No matter what you remember or don't remember, we are here, now. And we can create new memories together." This closeness gave rise to a new and disturbing feeling in Emma. She realized that her emotions for Alexander were no longer simply gratitude or attachment, but the beginnings of true love. Her heart ached with every smile he gave her, with every attention he showed her. One evening, as they were walking in the garden under the moonlight, Emma stopped and tentatively took Alexander's hand. I don't know why, but I feel safe with you. And I think I care about you. Alexander smiled, his gaze full of tenderness and emotion. Emma, you don't need to understand why. Just feeling is enough. And know that I care about you too, from the very beginning. In that suspended moment, Emma understood something essential. No matter what she had forgotten, no matter what fragments of the past resurfaced, a powerful and sincere bond united them. And this spark from the past only strengthened the nascent flame of their love. As the days turned into weeks, Emma felt her heart grow closer to Alexander in ways she'd never imagined. Every gesture, every smile, every word exchanged in the house seemed to forge an invisible but powerful bond between them. It wasn't just gratitude or affection anymore, it was a deep attachment, a warmth in her chest that refused to fade. One afternoon, Alexander suggested they cook together in the kitchen. Emma tentatively agreed, unsure of her actions. But Alexander gently guided her, laughing at her clumsiness without ever ridiculing her. As they worked side by side, their hands brushed against each other several times, sending unexpected shivers down Emma's spine. "Have you always been this meticulous?" he asked, smiling, seeing Emma focused on her task. Emma blushed, looking down. I don't know, but I like it done right." Their laughter mingled in the kitchen, and a simple moment became something special. Emma realized she appreciated not only his presence, but also his humor, his patience, and his way of understanding her without her needing to talk about her past. Every moment spent with him filled her with a sweetness she had never known. Later, sitting on the couch, Alexander approached her. "Emma, I know this isn't easy for you, but I wanted you to know something." Emma looked up, her heart pounding. "What?" "I like you, deeply. And I think I'm falling in love with you." A shiver ran through Emma. Her heart raced, and her eyes filled with tears, not of sadness, but of pure emotion. I think I feel the same way," she whispered, her voice trembling. Alexander smiled, cupping her face tenderly in his hands. "You don't need to understand everything right now. You just need to feel. And I want to be there for you, every step of the way." Emma rested her head on his shoulder, feeling the warmth of his body and the security of his embrace. For the first time since the accident, she felt whole, accepted, and loved for who she was now, not for who she had been. In that suspended moment, a deep attachment was sealed between them. Emma understood that no matter what the future and the fragments of her past held for her, she wanted to live every moment by his side. And Alexander, in turn, knew he had found someone who touched his heart in a unique and irresistible way. A gentle summer breeze blew through the garden as Emma and Alexander walked side by side. The sun was setting over the horizon, tinting the sky with shades of pink and orange. Every moment seemed suspended in time, as if the whole world had stopped for them. Alexander stopped suddenly, taking Emma's hands in his own. His intense gaze bored into hers, and an emotional silence fell. "Emma," he began, his voice shaky but firm. "I know you're still going through a lot. Your past remains a mystery, and I can't know what tomorrow holds. But there's one thing I know for sure." Emma felt her heart race, a mixture of anticipation and nervousness. "What?" she asked, her voice almost a whisper. "I care about you, deeply." His words were simple, but filled with a sincerity that resonated with Emma's soul. "No matter what you remember or what you recall from your past life, I want to be by your side, to support you, to love you. I ask nothing more than that you let me love you." A shiver ran through Emma. Her eyes filled with tears, not of sadness, but of happiness and pure emotion. She felt her heart respond to this declaration, beating in response to her burgeoning feelings. "Alexander," she whispered, her hands trembling. I want to stay with you. I think I love you too." Alexander smiled, a smile that mixed joy and relief, and gently pulled her closer. Their foreheads touched, and Emma felt an enveloping warmth fill her. She had finally found someone she could trust completely, someone who could fill the void left by oblivion. They stayed like that for a long time, enjoying the gentle sunset, the serenity of the garden, and their closeness. That evening, an unbreakable bond was sealed between them, a love that depended neither on the past nor on memories, but only on what they felt in the present. Emma realized she was no longer afraid to love. Alexander realized he had found his true love, the one no memory could erase. And as the sky darkened, giving way to the stars, a promising and bright future emerged before them, ready to be lived hand in hand. The weeks and months following their confession of their feelings were filled with discovery, laughter, and tenderness. Emma and Alexander learned to live fully in the present, building new and precious memories every day. Fragments of Emma's past resurfaced in small pieces, but they were no longer a source of fear. She knew that, no matter what she found, she had found someone to share her life with. Every morning, they woke up together in the soft light of the house. Alexander sometimes made breakfast, while Emma laughed at his cooking blunders. They spent their days exploring the grounds, reading side by side, or simply sitting in silence in the garden, enjoying the beauty of simple things. Emma gradually felt her heart opening completely. She loved Alexander not only for what he did for her, but for who he was, patient, caring, generous, and deeply sincere. Alexander, for his part, saw in her a gentle and luminous force, capable of transforming his life and filling the void left by amnesia. One evening, as they were looking at the stars from the balcony, Emma rested her head on Alexander's shoulder and whispered, "I don't remember everything, but I know one thing, I'm happy here, with you." Alexander hugged her, a tender smile on his face. "And I'm glad you're here. No matter what the past took, we've found something real and precious." They looked at each other, and without needing any further words, understood that they had found a love capable of overcoming all trials. Lost memories, doubts, and fears were no longer important. They now had something solid, sincere, and lasting. Thus began their new life, one of complicity, love, and shared happiness. Emma gradually rebuilt her identity, but with Alexander by her side, every moment became precious, every day a promise of tenderness and joy. The past may have been hazy, but their present was bright. And together, they were ready to write a future where love and trust would be the only memories needed.